Education Minister Angie Motshekga says all schools will remain open despite the increasing number of COVID-19 cases countrywide. She was giving an update on the pandemic response in schools earlier today. Motshekga added that about 600,000 people in the education sector will be vaccinated in the next 2 weeks. eNCA's Sli Masikane was covering the story for us all day. What's the department view, Sli, on schools remaining open? Obviously they say yes, but is there pressure to close it?
There's been a lot of calls from different sectors in society, Omar, in terms of closing schools amid the rising COVID-19 numbers. We know a bit earlier, a couple of weeks ago rather, it seems there was a peak that was rising in the Northern Cape, and now it's hit Gauteng. And we understand that there's a lot of concern around the resumption of a traditional timetable in the third term, which is supposed to start in July. And we understand, of course, that Cabinet has approved that traditional timetable resuming for primary schools in particular, and so a lot of concern from parents and from different sectors in society. But it seems that there's been a widespread consultation from the Basic Department of Education, in particular the Minister, who actually highlighted that earlier this morning she once again had a meeting with SGBs, with teacher unions, as well as the ministerial committee around the safety of schools remaining open. And she says that there's widespread consensus that they should, and that the department should be adopting a differentiated approach, so not a blanket closure of schools. So every province must monitor schools and see exactly whether there's an outbreak at a particular school and how that outbreak is taking place, and only then decide whether to close that school, but not a blanket approach to closing schools. Let's take a listen.
We are of view that schools must remain open. In saying so, we are not insensitive to the concerns raised about the rising infections. The position that we want to, which we will be presenting to Cabinet and also to the National Coronavirus Command Center, is that COVID cases must be handled case by case in a differentiated approach, on a province by province, school by school. And therefore, if there is an outbreak, the school must be handled there, and it cannot be nationalized for any other reason. So while there are disruptions in the sector, the majority of our schools remain fairly stable.
Sli, for those who missed your reporting earlier and our live coverage, what is the vaccination program rollout going to be like?
So we know, Omar, that of course 300,000 J&J jabs have landed in the country, and those have been secured for the education sector. We know that the sector has around 582,000 personnel that must be vaccinated. That rollout program will begin on the 23rd of June, which is this coming Wednesday. And we know that teachers must register beforehand. Those teachers, for example, who are above 60 and are being catered for during the current rollout will not be included. Those who have received the flu vaccine as well will not be included, and those who are currently suffering from the virus also won't be included in that rollout. But those who are going to miss the first rollout of the vaccine will be accommodated at a later stage. We also understand that around 282,000 more jabs will be arriving later on this week. And we also know that earlier this year, Omar, I must highlight that there was a lot of vaccine hesitancy in the sector, in particular with teachers around taking the vaccine. It was sitting at around 52% of teachers who did not want to take the vaccine. But currently, right now, we have around 76% of teachers who say they are actually willing to take the jab. Let's take a listen.
With the support and guidance from the Department of Health, the vaccination program for DBE will unfold with immediate effect. And we're urging all our teachers to say, and everybody else who's in the sector, to say, let's pull all stops and make sure that we do vaccinate all of us in the sector. Dr. Granville will give more details around the vaccination program. It will start the Wednesday, the 23rd, which is next week, and continue until the 8th of July, when we close our schools. We will be vaccinating all teachers in the PESA, which is where we register our educators, administrative and support staff, irrespective of age, We'll also be vaccinating, this I thought I should raise because it kept on being raised in the morning. We'll be vaccinating even teachers who are school governing body appointed teachers and those employed by independent schools. That's why we also had a meeting with them to make sure that we have a comprehensive program of all the educators in the sector. In total, for the next 10 to 14 days, we plan to have almost 582,000 people in the sector vaccinated.